Boosteroid Ultra has launched in Europe and is coming very soon in the US, but guys, I couldn't wait. I know. I just had to jump on this right now, so I got access to a server in Europe with only around 100 milliseconds of latency. Not too shabby, decent enough for an adequate comparison. So in case you were wondering, the Boosteroid Ultra tier is a brand new 4K rival to Nvidia's 4K cloud gaming tier, the GeForce Now Ultimate tier. We've been waiting for Boosteroid to drop this for almost 2 years now. Now if you're new here, here's a little background on the Ultimate tier. Nvidia is running hardware equivalent to running a gaming PC with an RTX 4080, the Nvidia L40G. They are also running some of the latest AMD Threadrippers for their CPUs. In contrast, the new Boosteroid Ultra tier is using all AMD hardware, including a data center GPU that is close to the RTX 4080, but not quite, the AMD Radeon RX 7900 XT. They are also running a 4th generation AMD EPYC server processor with 16 cores, which is one of the latest on the market. These details were captured in Cyberpunk 2077, which we'll cover. These two tiers sport up to 4K resolution and a 120 FPS stream. And speaking of that, Boosteroid has just upgraded their app to support 120 FPS and up to an 80 megabits per second bitrate. And yes, you can change this during your session in the app settings with Alt F2 as seen here. A well-needed upgrade. Now let's get into this comparison. For these benchmarks, I'll be using the highest graphic settings with frame generation if possible. I'll also be using scaling technologies if necessary to get to 120 FPS. Now the first game we have up is Cyberpunk 2077. Now please be aware that GeForce Now has a frame cap set to 120 on this game, but it's not gonna matter. You'll see why soon. Since Boosteroid is running AMD hardware and FSR 3 is not officially activated in Cyberpunk yet, Boosteroid cannot run frame generation. I'm going to be running the Ray Tracing Ultra preset, not Overdrive, and the differences are going to be obvious. Let's run it. As you can see, the Ultimate tier completely beats the Ultra tier here. We'll have to run this again when the game officially adds FSR 3. But what about a game that does have FSR 3 frame generation? Let's load Modern Warfare 3. Now GeForce Now also caps this game at 135 FPS, but I have an old benchmark before they capped it, so we'll compare the Extreme preset on both. But the Ultimate tier is going to be using DLSS 3 set to quality and frame generation on. The Boosteroid Ultra tier will be using FSR 3 set to quality with frame generation on as well. We'll see how things run.
Target area marked. You're cleared hot. On your 6.
Was not expecting this. What an amazing turn of events. Granted, these benchmarks are months apart, so there might be some inaccuracies, but way to go, Boosteroid. This is exactly what they needed. FSR 3 might make or break the Boosteroid Ultra tier. Time will tell. Last up is an older game, but still a pretty demanding game, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Everything is maxed out, but this time, this will be an even playing ground using Intel Excess on performance.
Estaré aquí toda la noche.
¡Hey! ¡Cuidado, niños!
So Ultimate beat Ultra here by about 30 FPS. I also ran the benchmark raw without scaling technologies, and Boosteroid would have to keep Excess on to even compete. So on an even playing ground, the Ultimate tier dominates, but to be honest, this was as expected. No one can really topple Nvidia at their own game, no pun intended. But the Boosteroid Ultra 4K tier isn't a pushover. The best part about the Boosteroid Ultra tier is now you can play a lot more of your favorite games in 4K, like GTA, Red Dead Redemption, Batman, Helldivers 2, Elden Ring, and a ton more that just aren't supported on GeForce Now. Like I said, I jumped the gun covering the Ultra tier here in America.
Because reasons!
But hey, that's also a game you can play on Boosteroid's Ultra tier 2 in 4K, Borderlands. There's a lot more to a platform rather than just being the top dog graphically. We'll be covering a lot more games as time goes on, so make sure you're subscribed to keep on top of those video updates. Now if you're looking to get started with both of these platforms, I'll have the getting started videos in the description. Let me know your thoughts on the performance of these two platforms in the comments below. So if you like this comparison video of the GeForce Now Ultimate tier versus the Boosteroid Ultra tier, give us a like. Also, make sure to join as a member of the channel or join our Patreon in the links below. And above all else, make sure to subscribe to keep it locked right here at the only place where you can do battle in gaming heaven, Cloud Gaming Battle.